Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Hariom Gulati, and on the behalf of Indian Dairy Association, I extend my warm welcome to all the participants today who are there in the webinar. And it's an important webinar on front of pack nutrition level, mostly known as FOPNL, and its implication on milk and milk products. We are privileged that we have our President, Dr. R.S. Sodi, here in this webinar, who will be delivering the keynote. And as you all know, he is the former MD of Gujarat Cooperative Milk Marketing Federation and currently associated with various boards like Export Dodla and also the chairperson of the NIFTEM. Then we have with us Dr. J.B. Prajapati, Chairman, IDA West Zone, and is a well-known professor and expert in the nutrition of the dairy and dairy products. We also have with us Mr. Kalpam Chauhan, Scientific and Regulatory Affairs, Mother Dairy, and he has reached 14 plus years of experience in beverage, food, and dairy, and he has worked with the companies like PepsiCo, Henscraft, and Biscuits previously in his career. And then we have Mr. Pradip Narayan Das, he is the head of quality assurance at the Heritage Food Limited, and he comes with a rich experience of 28 years in the food and the dairy industry, and he has also previously worked the company like Mehsana Union, Amul, Horlicks, Mother Dairy, and Mahi Milk. And then here with us, Mr. R. Mohan, who is the QC head of Dodla Dairy, and he also is a graduate from the NDRI and come with 25 years of rich experience in food and dairy business. So thank you, sir, all of you to being here, and definitely we're going to get a lot of knowledge from you all. And then of course, we have with me sitting at our head office, Mr. Kuldeep Sharma, who is the founder of Suruchi Consultant and well-known personality when it comes to the knowledge and information regarding the dairy. So I welcome you, sir, here. Thank you. And as you know, that FOPNL is a very relevant to the dairy sector, and while the important to promote, because dairy plays very important role in nutrition and the food security of food security in India. So this has to be treated in a way differently with its inherent goodness of quality and the nutrition it has. So today's topic will enrich all of us on this important issue. And now I hand over the session to Shri Kuldeep Sharma ji, who will be moderator for the today's session. To you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. So first of all, welcome all of you for this very important webinar on a topic which we have been discussing, I think, for quite some time now. And looking at this particular topic of this FSSAI proposed FOPL with health star rating. So we have to look into it. So though from conceptually, it is a very good thing which is happening. But as we normally say, that whatever is tasty is not good for health, and normally whatever is healthy is not so good for as far as taste is concerned. Now, the major concern, I'll take you through the history of this FOPL, not only at Indian level but global level also. But the major concern for this, always right from the beginning, has been around consumer health awareness and the deaths happening due to non-communicable diseases, which is a very big concern all over in the world. And if we look at the kind of NCDs, the deaths happening due to NCDs, then I think if I look at the data from 2021, then globally, 41 million people die each year from NCDs. And I think this number rose to 43 million in 2023 from NCDs, and that accounts for close to 74% of all global deaths. And if I relate it to Indian scenario, then in 2019 alone, 6.8 million deaths in India were due to NCDs, representing around 67.6% of total deaths. While the deaths happening in the world was close to 74% of all global deaths. So you can understand how serious this issue is. And majority of these kind of deaths happening under NCD categories are arising out of CVDs, that is cardiovascular diseases, which will be close to 17.9 to 19 million globally. Cancer is another thing, 9.3 to 10 million. We have chronic respiratory diseases, around 4 million. And then finally, diabetes, killing 1.5 to 2 million people every year. Now, this is an area of concern. And that's why, some kind of program from the food side, because food plays an important role imparting these kind of NCDs. So we have got very successful examples also from Chile, Mexico, where warning signals have been given on food packs. And we have got health star rating from Australia and New Zealand also. I'll be covering that later. But in today's webinar, I think it's a three-dimensional issues which we are going to address and discuss with our eminent panelists and find right kind of recommendation for the regulator. Now, first dimension is, first of all, that how good is this health star rating as far as the FOPL is concerned. So there are other kind of systems also, warning systems also, which are available, which could be there on FOPL. The second most important thing is the treatment of dairy. In terms of looking at the salience of dairy, we need to understand that how dairy has been treated as far as this new, the guidelines which have come. And currently, I think food regulator is also under pressure due to Supreme Court has given them time up to 15th of October, if I'm not wrong. So since April 2025, so they have been given 2 slots of 90 days each or something like that. The last thing is that over and above dairy salience, some categories, typical categories, which are analogs by nature. So somewhere on this rating system, what I call it as twinkle, twinkle, little star, and how I wonder what you are, and creating those stars in a manipulative manner, particularly in the ultra processed categories, where some kind of provisions have been given for reformulation. So in that case, how our dairy will be able to protect itself, and that too in today's time, of social media, where anyone could say anything just on the basis of rating. So that is the third dimension which probably we need to look into in this today's discussion. So in the beginning, I would request Dr. Sodi to please give his valuable comments and open this particular webinar and guide us, sir, that what kind of issues, because we will be discussing a lot today. So what should be the dairy fraternity which are sitting outside this panelist room? How should they look at it, and how should they contribute later on, to give a very good representation to the food regulator? Thank you, sir.
Dhanyavad. Namaskar. Good afternoon, everybody. First of all, I thank you, Shri Kuldeep Sharma ji, for bringing this very, very important issue, or raising this issue to this level, that IDA has organized this webinar. I'm thankful to all the panelists today, including Dr. J.B. Prajapati, our chairman for Western Zone, Dr. Kalpam Chauhan, the lead scientific and regulatory affair manager from Mother Dairy, Dr. Pradip Narayan Das, head of quality assurance from Heritage, and Dr. R. Mohan, head quality assurance from Dodla Dairy, and Shri Hariram Gulati ji, our Secretary General. I thankful all the attendees. I mean, already I see 371 have joined, which is a very good attendance. This topic, which already Shri Kuldeep Sharma ji has already introduced, before coming to this topic, let me tell you, dairy industry in which we all are working is always getting one or two issues or attacks one after one. कभी वो एनालॉग प्रोडक्ट अटैक करते हैं, कभी वो एडल्ट्रेशन का आता है, कभी एफटीए के आता है. रीजन इज सिंपल. I say dairy category or dairy industry is a very rich value wise. अब 14 लाख करोड़ है, ऑर्गेनाइज 4 से 4.5 लाख करोड़ है. So anybody who wants to enter into the food business, they want to see कि कहां से चिप करें, कहां से हमको business snatch करना है. So then they look which is the biggest food category, which is the biggest organized food category. So dairy is India's biggest organized packed food category. तो आप वो सब सोचते आ रहे भैया, इसमें से अगर 10% लोग भी 10% कस्टमर दे कम टूवर्ड्स अस, तो हमारा 40-50 हजार करोड़ का कैटेगरी बन जाएगा. चाहे वो एनालॉग वाले हो, चाहे वो एडल्ट्रेटेड प्रोडक्ट्स वाले हो, चाहे वो जंक फूड वाले हो. I'm very happy that we have got very learned panelists here. So I will not take much time because I'm not expert in this subject. So all panelists are expert, and I believe later on we'll also have a Q&A session. But what I want to say is, देखिए, why Government of India through FSSAI is bringing this health star rating or FOPNL. Reason is because lot of junk food is coming, has come in the last 2 or 3 decades, full of unhealthy materials, but their claims are exaggerated. And consumer is not properly informed about the ill effects of this junk food. Let me know, this health star rating has purely come to expose junk food people. Because a lot of NGOs and consumer interest bodies have raised this issue. So for that, they said, let us declare on the pack how nutritionally particular packed or processed food is. तो नेचुरली उन्होंने अपने हिसाब से वो फैट का, शुगर का, प्रोटीन का, उन चीजों से बनाया. But there are certain issues with that which I think panelists raise. But what I want to say is, until and unless we make the regulatory and other people aware about the issues or problems in the current health star rating, the credibility of this whole health star rating will be in question. आप बताइए, अगर health star rating से कोई बोलता है कि carbonated drink is better in health than the flavored milk, तो आप ऐसी किसी रेटिंग पे कोई कस्टमर विश्वास करने वाला? सब बोलेंगे जंक है, ये बेकार है. तो आज आप उसी डॉक्टर के पास जाते हैं जो आपको अच्छी प्रिस्क्रिप्शन देता है, आपको डायग्नोस करता है, तभी आप उसके पास जाओगे, नहीं तो उसके पास कोई जाता ही नहीं है. इसलिए वी हैव टू मेक अवेयर द रेगुलेटरी बॉडीज कि आप जो हेल्थ स्टार रेटिंग को प्रमोट कर रहे हो, कंज्यूमर शुड एक्सेप्ट द क्रेडिबिलिटी ऑफ दिस. क्योंकि सदियों से हमारे यहाँ कुछ फूड के बारे में परसेप्शन बने हैं कि नेचुरल फूड, मिल्क प्रोडक्ट्स आर गुड फॉर हेल्थ. आज अगर ये हेल्थ स्टार रेटिंग बोलेगा कि नहीं, कार्बोनेटेड ड्रिंक्स बेटर है, एनालॉग प्रोडक्ट्स जिसमें सिर्फ एक ही न्यूट्रिशन होता है वो बेटर है देन द सुपर फूड, तो उसको कोई पढ़ने वाला नहीं, वो पूरा जंक फूड की तरह जंक में चला जाएगा. सो पर्पस इज वी हैव टू मेक अवेयर the regulatory, and also we have to also see that consumer are also aware about the ill effects or problem of this health star rating when this is actually implemented. What I wish is, after this deliberation, whatever recommendations are coming, all the participants should make aware wherever they are working or where they are located within your सोशल मीडिया, आपकी अपनी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में, आपकी गवर्नमेंट में जो स्टेट लेवल पे जो एफएसएसी के लोग हैं, एंड आल्सो इन द प्रेस मीडिया. व्हाट इज रिक्वायर्ड इज दिस नीड्स टू बी प्रोपोगेटेड टू एवरीबॉडी कि हाउ दिस हेल्थ स्टार रेटिंग इज बीइंग हाईजैक्ड बाय द लॉबी रिप्रेजेंटिंग बाय अल्ट्रा प्रोसेस्ड जंक फूड लॉबी. तो पर्पस इज टोटली डिसीव्ड. जिस पर्पस के लिए हेल्थ स्टार रेटिंग लगाई गई थी, ये उसके उल्टा हो रहा है. इससे अच्छा तो ना ही हो. then customer को पता है कि दूध health के लिए अच्छा है. So with this, I like to end my this talk, and I request all the panelists as well as the attendees. We listen to all the people who are going to give their valuable guidance and the knowledge, and we try to propagate among our circle. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for framing this issue so powerfully, sir. And over here, I would again like to reiterate and request all the participants to keep on sharing their kind of recommendations or questions in the question answer chat box. And everything is getting recorded over here. And we will see to it that, once we will be closing, after making all the presentation, when we'll be having time, we'll be picking up those questions. And if we couldn't get time for that, certainly we will be responding back on that to everyone. So as Dr. Sodi has mentioned that please share your coordinates also so that we can contact you back. But please share, because this is a very important topic. And as sir has mentioned, that it's more like a hijacking. And particularly, I was discussing it with someone about junk food, and he told me that actually junk food means tasty foods. And because it is tasty food, that's why nobody actually cares about how junk it is. So coming back, the industry which we belong to, dairy. So from that perspective, again, I'll come back to the most important question or the important dimension of this discussion is that should milk, which is nutrient based, we know about it has got the best metrics. It's a nutrient dense natural food, and where no manipulation is done of any sort. Should it be equated with highly processed and ultra processed products where reformulation means simply manipulation to get more stars? So for this, I would like to call Dr. Prajapati over here, who is an eminent scientist who has spent his life working for the cause of dairy. And in the first presentation, I would like, sir, that please share the salience of dairy in terms of food matrix and the nutrients which it has got, because Dr. Sodi was mentioning about, and normally we talk about calories, fat, saturated fats, and then we talk about sodium, sugar, salt. But what about proteins? What about calcium? What about other essential nutrients and minerals or bioavailability of all these things? So I request Dr. Prajapati to please make his presentation. Thank you, sir. Maybe 10 to 15 minutes, depending upon,
Maybe less than 10 minutes, sir. No problem. Thank you. Thank you, Kuldeep ji and Sodhi sir for setting the stage.
No, 1 minute, Dr. Prajapati. I think everybody else is able to hear properly. कोई echo तो नहीं, no echo anywhere because somebody just said.
Sodhi sir, आपको अरुण पाटिल का echo आ रहा था. He showed me, but in his phone he was getting echo.
Okay.
In my laptop it is very clear.
No. ठीक है. Carry on.
I think all the panelists can hear me clearly, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
So, being a basic scientist, since last 40-45 years, see the world is going, nutrition research is going in the direction of the nutritional value of a composed food as a whole, not as individual nutrients. We do not weigh now the significance of a sugar or salt or a fat or other things individually. So it is a holistic approach which is being now followed. In most of the nutrition research papers, you'll find it. Probably we had last year or day, last 23 or so, we had one IDF fact sheet also on the dairy matrices, that how holistic nutrient content is playing role. So it is not the individual fat or protein or other thing which is important for you, but it is the coexistence of several nutrients that decide the real nutritive value of the food product. And hence, in that context, the present FOPNL probably be a misguide to the consumers rather than a guide. उसका purpose उल्टा हो सकता है. No doubt, they are supporting 2 or 3 studies. I think तो IIM अहमदाबाद का एक study था शायद, that was done with about 20,000 odd participants as a survey questions, that which kind of index you like. NIN का भी था, उसमें भी शायद 2,000-3,000 participant थे. But that was just to know that which kind of indication system is preferred by the consumers. देखते हैं. और जो IIM का study था, they have done study with the biscuits and chips only. They have not taken any other food where people will have a difference of opinion. तो नहीं ये तो कैसे नहीं हो सकता है, like that. So when we say food matters is milk as it is, the coexistence of the same minerals with other vitamins and other precursors. Say human being or every living system is working on some pathways in the body. जो भी चीज आप खाते हो उसको डाइजेस्ट करने के लिए पूरा सिस्टम होता है. And in that, probably hundreds of enzymes, coenzymes, and precursors and all are involved. So if you have a food which will have presence of all these things, that food is much more assimilable, bioavailable, useful to your body than getting any particular nutrient. So the same sugar which you add simply in a this highly caffeinated drinks in high quantity, but if same sugar is added in a small proportion in flavored milk or other thing, when it is reacting with other things, it has a different story. When the same lactose, when you consume, when it goes to your stomach, it is broken down into glucose and galactose, and that has many other health benefits. So the main blame in which milk products are in this labeling system is going to be down is the saturated fat. उसकी वजह से उसको लो स्टार रेटिंग मिल सकता है. बट saturated fat in milk is entirely different than it is present in other foods. See, within saturated foods, if you want to compare that what kind of fatty acids is that, because fatty acid profile is very, very important. So within saturated fat, we have got short chain fatty acids, medium chain fatty acids, and long chain fatty acids. Short chain and medium chain fatty acids with many benefits, health benefit. It is proved by science, and not to by just few publications involving 100-2,000 people. It is with lakhs of people involved that these kind of compounds are helpful. Even with the long chain fatty acids, which may be otherwise little bit unhealthy, but milk has a branch chain fatty acids and also odd carbon fatty acids. These both are healthy. So probably the earlier the American Heart Association, which listed milk in a bad milk fat as in a bad position, they have now reversed, and they have now realized that milk fat is much better than anything. And the things which they advocated, that replacement of milk fat with vegetable oils, vegetable may have unsaturated fatty acids, but the same thing when it is boiled, used repeatedly, the compounds which are generated out of that, they are 100 times more unhealthier than the milk fat. Khas karke after oxidation, another thing, what changes it occurs. So this has led to health hazards. If you see the history of last 70 years, sir, after the onset of this consumption of vegetable oils replacing the milk fat has come, the graph of lifestyle diseases has increased. Pura steep increase हुआ है all over world का, not only India or any other thing. So this shows that we made a mistake in replacing the milk fat with the vegetable oils. So this is about milk. Similarly, if you see the matrix of yogurt or dahi with acid, lactic acid, the same calcium is getting 20%, 30% more absorbable than as it is in milk. Cheese, you see. So all these compounds, when they're present in a particular matrix, it should represent a different situation. And that is why one of our requests to the authority should be that please exempt those foods which have natural ingredients and coexisting with each other, which are much more healthier than this. So in this, probably the plain milk they have put in the list, which may not have this kind of ranking, but the things will come with cheese, maybe with yogurt and with butter. Butter probably they have put because it's salt content, but ये butter का जो fatty acid composition है, that is entirely different than any other fat. I think same thing is with coconut milk also, coconut oil. Coconut का oil भी है, उसके अंदर saturated fat बहुत है, but does not mean that it is unhealthy. So healthy and unhealthy, this kind of rating should not confuse the consumers. This is my appeal. And for that, we should have some recommendations for putting into that. No doubt, I will also tell some other recommendations after that. But हमारा जो अभी एक काइंड ऑफ रिडक्शनिस्ट पर्सपेक्टिव था कि सॉल्ट को आइसोलेटेड देखो, शुगर को आइसोलेटेड देखो, फैट को आइसोलेटेड देखो, एंड देन डिसाइड द वैल्यू ऑफ फूड इज नॉट करेक्ट. इट हैज टू बी रेक्टिफाइड. I think this is okay, Kuldeep ji, or you want anything more from this?
No, sir, absolutely fine. In due course, maybe we could have more understanding from you, because you have done a great deal of work in the areas of analog also. And, because as you have rightly mentioned, so few of the products, milk products have been exempted in this FOPL. But yes, major products which have got, and by chance these products have got highest level of traction also in the market. Be it paneer, be it cheese, be it lassi, be it flavored milk categories, all these have been kept, they have not been exempted. And interesting part is that along with that, so their analogs have also been kept, and all of those in one category of solid food as such. So I think that will be the area which my panelist friend will be covering more from the industry, because after Dr. Prajapati, we have got three eminent panelists. And as Dr. Sodi was mentioning about the organized sector size of close to 4.5 lakh crores, I think around 35,000 crore is being represented by the three panelists who will be coming now, and we just wanted to have their point of view, because their skin is there in the game, and that is why we can't take this particular concept very lightly. So very quickly, I would like to, because simultaneously I would like to share the whole story of this FOPL around the world, and then I'll be at a micro level, I'll come to India. Very quickly, I would like to tell you that it all started, if we look at the timeline, then at global level, it all started in 1987. I would say close to 40 years from now, where American Heart Association, they launched the first heart guide initiative, where for the first time they started to feel that yes, food plays a critical role as far as heart, body health is concerned. In 89, it was Sweden's National Food Administration which created keyhole symbol. In 1991, it was New Zealand Heart Foundation which created tick program. 92 study on shelf tags shows market shares of shelf tag products. They increase, the one with a healthy sign, they got increased. FDA and USDA published final rules defining nutrient content claims and providing for health claims in 93. 95, again, AHA introduced heart check program. 99, Canada started with Heart and Stroke Foundation, which introduced health check program. And all these things, somewhere down the line, linking these findings with the food and guiding the food industry. Around 2004, we see that the food companies started to enter into this space with their voluntary program, where PepsiCo was the first one to introduce Smart Spot. General Mills introduced Goodness Corner. FDA introduced Calories Count. Then in 2005, whole grain stamp was launched. FDA published an advance notice of proposed rulemaking requesting comments on displaying calories more prominently on food packaging. Like the state where we are in today, FDA was in 2005. And let me tell you that particularly from FDA perspective, that till date, these people have not come out with any FOPL. So it means still researches are being going on. It is in our case that, suddenly I'll give you the chronology of what's happening in India also. And taking it further, maybe in 2007, Unilever came into choice program, food choice program. UK Food Standard Agency implemented traffic light system. Kellogg's introduced nutrition at a glance. General Mills implements nutrition highlights to replace Goodness Corner. And this chronology also tells us how important is for the industry to be responsible towards this. Why food regulators should take an initiative in these lines. First of all, it is the industry responsibility also, and whichever industry is doing pretty well. And I'm very sure both in private sector and cooperative sector, we have been looking at these health aspects of dairy. But lastly, it was in 2014 that in Australia and New Zealand, we found the first health star rating which got implemented. So it was in 2014 and it's almost 10, 11 years. I would like to talk about what are the findings or what are the outcome of that. And probably, if I'm not wrong, maybe I'll be doing more research and I will be requesting all of you to share more information to me. But globally, I think after Australia and New Zealand, we will be the second country to go for health star rating. Rest all have gone for warning signals and traffic light or Nutri-Score. But in health star rating, probably we will be the second one if it happens. So now let's come to our first panelist, Mr. Kalpam from Mother Dairy. And now shifting from salience of dairy products to understanding, this implementation of health star rating on dairy products. So, Mr. Kalpam, maybe you can upload your presentation.
Yeah. So
And you have got 10, 12 minutes at the time, whatever you need, it's with you.
So before I start, I would like to offer my sincere thanks to IDA, a special thanks to Kuldeep ji for taking this initiative to, inviting all the dairy industry players, and Hariom ji, and special thanks to Sodi sir, that we are truly honored, sir, to have you with us, and your guidance and your such rich experience in the dairy sector would definitely strengthen our position while taking up this agenda to the authority. And let me just, sir, upload my presentation. So I hope, sir, my presentation is visible to all of you.
Yes, visible. Yes, visible.
So as Kuldeep sir just setting the context in the beginning, that why this whole concept is being discussed and already discussed around the world, now is being discussion since last 3-4 years in India, because of rising concern of the NCDs, be it obesity or be it diabetes or other heart disease, right? So in that concept, I'm not going into detail because already Kuldeep sir has mentioned that how increasing the disease into concept of which is impacting the health of the consumer. And this is good that India is also looking to have some kind of simplified and clear kind of nutritional information which can help to the consumer to make an informed choice about the nutritional status of a product, just basis with a kind of a text or symbol or any pictorial representation. So while consumer making an informed choice. So this is just a content which I'm going to cover: key salient points, HFSS, FOPNL, impact on milk and milk products, how dairy analog and dairy are kept together, and what is our recommendation being a largest producer of the milk in the world. So these are, we all are aware the FSSAI released the draft on 13 September 2022 on front of pack. The called is Indian nutritional rating, while the Australian and this New Zealand call it health star rating. But in India, it is known as like Indian nutrition rating depiction in the form of the star, which you can see on the left-hand side. Majority, this particular draft has categorized into two categories. One is the solid, another is the liquid foods. And all the dairy products, be it solid and liquid, have been mapped into the solid category. So we need to I would like to have a discussion on, there are two aspects into the FOPNL draft. One is the HFSS, second is the FOPNL. So both two are the different. So first, if we see the FOPNL, it is a simplified, clear, nutritional information which tells the status and quality of a product, nutritional status of a product in a simplified manner, be it pictorial, like just an example, you can see here that this kind of star in between whatever rating it is getting, and in the beneath it is writing like Indian nutritional rating. And one tagline, go for more star, means more probably the star, better the product, which is not actually the case if we go practically, which I will discuss in the later slides. Second concept is HFSS. One is FOPNL, simplified representation. Second is HFSS, high in food, sugar, and salt. So how a product will be qualified or will be called, termed as HFSS? So there are three criteria. If a product is getting more than or equal to 10% of total energy from its total sugar. Second, it similar 10% of total energy from its saturated fat. Or third is sodium not more than or equal to 1 milligram per 1 kilocalorie. If we see the implications, let's suppose if product is falling into the HFSS, so what could be the implications if it gets finalized or if the same definition gets introduced into the final notification? Number one, the product which are HFSS cannot be sold in school, children canteens, and in the radius of a school around 15 meters. That's one implication to the food industry, including dairy. Second is HFSS food cannot be fortified. Third is any health claim or any influencing rich kind of claim cannot be mentioned on a HFSS food. So these three major implications is going to happen on the products which are HFSS if this definition as such implements. But if we see practically, this definition scientifically is not correct. It has very challenge. For example, a toned milk, which is a kind of a, you can say, like natural milk, nothing is added into it. If we see the calorie out of total sugar, out of 58 is the total calorie, and the calorie out of total sugar is 33%. So nothing is added into the toned milk. It is a balanced kind of a milk, 3% of fat. Nothing is added into it. It is drawn as such from the udder, make it pasteurization and served to the consumer. Itself, this milk is HFSS. Similarly, if we see the energy from the saturated fat, it is more than 10%, 31%. Take another example like dahi. Nothing added into it, neither fat, neither sugar, nothing. So natural dahi is also saturated, HFSS. So we can see the practical implications. Scientifically, this definition of HFSS is having a lot of challenge and needs to be reviewed by the authority. Apart from that, there are other examples also like 100% mixed fruit juice without sugar. It is also HFSS. Sweet dalia with me, generally made at our home. It is also HFSS. Khichdi, generally we consume. Khichdi is also HFSS. Let's suppose if something added into make it palatable, like 10 to 15 grams of sugar into it. This is also HFSS. So principally and scientifically, the definition of HFSS is not correct, which is a big challenge to entire industry, including dairy. So let's take an example, because the objective of FOPNL is like to encourage the consumption of the healthier and nutritious food, and also to promote the reformulation. So if let's suppose I want to reformulate a lassi containing, let's suppose, 10 grams of sugar into it. So this is an example. So my lassi having a total calorie of, total sugar of 12 gram into it. So if I see and total calorie 76 kilocalorie, then if I calculate the total percentage of this calorie from the sugar is 64. If I reduce it till the minus 50% of the added sugar into it, still it is HFSS. So reformulation is also again a challenging into, while our industry is looking towards reformulating the product till minus 50% of added sugar reduction, not qualifying the product out of HFSS. If we take an example of, for example, salted chach. So you can see here if it is 220 milligram of sodium per 100 ml of charge, if I reduce it minus 50%, that is 110 milligram per 100 ml, still it is HFSS. If I reduce it till 90% of the sodium into it, so from 220 milligram to 222 milligram, then it is also HFSS. So you can see how can a person can make by adding 2 milligram of sodium into a spiced or like salted charge. It's not possible. So even reduction of minus 90% of the sodium in a salted charge and lassi product making qualifying, not qualifying out of HFSS. So these are the practical, scientifically not correct. The definition, though if we see there is no definition of HFSS around the world, no definition. We are the first which we are discussing, though based on, though it is WHO nutrient of concern excessive kind of model, or maybe some kind of definition given by NIN, or maybe some other region models. So basically in the current draft, the half is the star, that is the least healthy, and 5 is the healthiest products. This is the mandatory depiction for any product with the tagline of go for more star. This is the voluntary optional. If you want to give the RDA percentage, then we can give. So this is basically that how to calculate whether your product is falling into a solid category, liquid category, how to derive a star. So these are the baseline point. Baseline point means there are some of the nutrient of concern, which is energy, saturated fat, total sugar, and sodium. And there are some positive points, which is fruits, vegetable, nuts, legumes, dietary fiber, and protein for our product per 100 ml or 100 gram. So INR score is baseline point minus modifying point. So let's take an example. So this is the algorithm given by the FSSAI. So let's take an example, a product having an energy of this, saturated fat this, and total sugar, sodium, protein. If we put this particular nutrient into this table, then first we need to identify where our product falls. So for example, let's take an example of cheese. It falls into the solid category. So this is the algorithm of solid category. Step 2, baseline point. So we need to check the energy kilocalorie. So we need to add all the points from energy, saturated fat, total sugar, and sodium. So if we see energy, we get a 3 points because it's less than greater than 240. Then for saturated fat, it's 12. I have just only put it for example, but step 3, modifying point for protein, it's 7. So baseline point minus modifying point is equal to INR score. So that's 33 minus 7, 26. If we put this 26 into this table, which indicate that how much star you are getting, so it is greater than 25. So you can see a cheese-like product which is having a high amount of calcium into it and a protein into it and other bioactive components like vitamins and minerals into it. So this kind of nutritious and healthier product is getting a rating of 0.5 star only. What message we are going to give to the consumer? Is it inferior? Because if I see in the second slide, 0.5 is the least healthy as per the draft notification. So do we want to say that cheese is least healthy? It is inferior? It is unhealthy? So consumer is going to mislead. They are going to surprise that what 0.5 means. It has nothing in terms of nutrition. No, it's not all. It's totally against or counterproductive the agenda of FSSAI, which they want to promote the consumption of the nutritious and healthier foods. It is totally against that, which we need to communicate and we need to highlight to the authority. Secondly, if we see at a glance, this is the star rating of multiple foods. For example, if dairy, if I see that most nutritious and healthy milk like cow, it's even not getting 5-star rating. It's getting only 3.5. Okay, paneer is getting 2.5. If we see processed cheese 0.5, however, cheese analog is getting 1. Right, almond milk 4.5, flavored milk 3. So this totally, somewhere the concept of a food matrix, wherein the positive nutrients into a particular food rather than identifying a food just basis of some negative nutrient that is a saturated fat into it, right? So let's take an example. If flavored milk is getting 3-star rating and a water wherein 10 gram of sugar added into it is also getting a 3-star rating, it doesn't mean that flavored milk can be replaced by a water-based beverage or water-based drink which only contains sugar. However, if I'm adding only 10 gram of sugar to make the flavored milk palatable, because no children, no student is going to drink the milk as a plain into school children NFN program. So to make it palatable, 10 gram sugar is added into it. Rest of the nutrients are natural into it. Be it protein, be it calcium, be it healthy fats, be it butyric or other fats, vitamin and minerals into it. So this kind of, lacuna which needs to be addressed while and before implementing the FOPNL in a country, that what products needs to be encouraged to consume, what product needs to be limit to consume based on the national, regional health guidelines and health promoting foods and ingredients. Similarly, this is just a basic example I have put here. If we see that why laddu made from desi ghee having a price of 700 and why laddu made from vegetable fat having a price of this 400. It's basic. Any layman can explain it. That ghee from its centuries is known as and associated for various health benefits and culturally also associated. So this is the basic example. Then why can't we understand why somebody has missed it, that the saturated fat of dairy, if it is bad, so then why this kind of price variation is available in the market? Let's take an example of the dairy and dairy analog. How dairy analog is going to overwin and win above the dairy products. See, let's take an example of product A, which is a frozen dessert, and product B, which is ice cream. If we see, let's suppose product A, frozen dessert, getting 2.5 star, and product B, which is an ice cream purely dairy, also getting 2.5. But product A have a level playing field in future by adding some kind of oil which is low in saturated fat.
I think we missed connection with Kalpam.
Yeah, I'm checking.
Right. So this
Kalpam, just a minute. Sorry to interrupt. I think your network is dropping. 2-3 times we have missed your voice. So if you can check on your network also simultaneously.
let me suggest. Yeah.
Such an interesting presentation going on, but suddenly when the voice dropped.
आप जब कंपेयर कर रहे थे फ्रोजन डेजर्ट और आइसक्रीम का, आपने बोला था कि उसमें अगर कोई अनसैचुरेटेड फैट ऐड कर दे तो वी कुड लिसन अप टू दैट. आप जो उसके बाद
एक बार सर वही मैं करता हूँ, एक सेकंड.
Even if you need to change the network, you can please.
हाँ, that's what सर वही कर रहा हूँ मैं. इधर तो ठीक आ रहा है.
या करो, अभी करो, देखो क्या होता है. अभी चलने तो देखते हैं क्या होता है.
ठीक है सर, ठीक है.
बस हो गया सर, हो गया.
चलो ठीक है. नहीं, वो कट गया आपका. पहले वाला ही बेटर था नेटवर्क.
तो टेक्नोलॉजी में भी स्टार रेटिंग होनी चाहिए. कौन सा नेटवर्क अच्छा है, कैसे है?
हेलो सर, अभी am I audible?
Yes.
Okay. So what I was talking, sir, simply how analog can win, and there is a high disadvantage with this kind of algorithm, because both products are mapped into one category, which should not be there. because there's no level playing field in case of dairy products, be it ice cream, be it paneer and be it cheese, be it other products. While the other analogs, be it frozen desserts or like paneer analog cheese, they have a level playing field to reduce their saturated fat. However, their total fat will remain same in case of analog, but their saturated fat will reduce by adding low saturated fat edible oil into it and will win over the dairy products because of dairy have a natural saturated fat of 70% into it. Sir, the whole discussion is going on about the saturated fat bad है, saturated fat की वजह से CSD हो रहा है, NCD हो रहा है. But if we see the misconception about saturated fat has been changed in the last 1 decade. And this, I'm not saying, there are the facts and evidences which I would like to present to the members. Number one, if we see the American Society of Nutrition, they are suggesting that total dairy is associated with the low risk of overweight, obesity, and type 2 diabetes. There is no foolproof American Society of Nutrition which deals that lower yogurt consumption is inversely associated with the development of type 2 diabetes, but higher consumption of milk and cheese is inversely associated with the stroke risk. There are other studies also from UK which scientifically evidence supports that milk and dairy products contribute to meet nutrient recommendation and may protect against the most prevalent chronic diseases. Science Direct Spain 2018, which talks about the bioactive component of dairy products, which protects us against certain health and birth kind of defects into the consumers. USA 2011 also recommends. This is very interesting, sir. I hope you must be aware. The International Dairy Federation Fact Sheets has conducted a study, various studies about milk, yogurt, and cheese. A lot of consumers have been involved into these studies, and they have taken kind of NCD like stroke, type 2 diabetes, CHD, hypertension, obesity. If you see, there are total 13 or 14 studies, including milk, yogurt, and cheese. Either they are beneficial or neutral. There is no evidence that it has a detrimental effect on the consumer health, consumption of milk, yogurt, or cheese, or milk product. You can see around this all. This is a summary of the articles. So gray area is neither beneficial nor detrimental. But rest of you can see either beneficial, neutral, be it hypertension, obesity, CSD, type 2, and stroke. So someone needs to get attention on these kind of latest development is happening around the world for the dairy. And it should not be kept aside. It should not be treated like other foods and clubbed with the other foods. It needs a special attention and treatment together. So these are some of the challenges to the dairy industry if the current draft as it is gets implemented. So dairy has been put under the solid food category along with the dairy alternatives, which should not be the case. Example, if we compare and calculate the star rating, it will always be at a big disadvantage. It will never become to the cheese analog or maybe other alternatives because there is no level playing field. For example, paneer analog cheese, ice cream, frozen dessert, butter, etc. So as we understand, natural saturated fat and lactose cannot be replaced. Therefore, dairy analog will always have a higher rating, and this lacuna and disadvantage to the dairy industry needs to be addressed. They are the way of forward and recommendation from our side, which have also represented to the authority various times in various forms, that we are, as a dairy industry, also ensuring the nutritional security of 1.4 or 1.5 billion people in India, and also ensuring the livelihood over 80 to 90 million families. Therefore, dairy needs to be a separate category for INR, if INR is in their mind to get it. Secondly, the most important is The exemption list also needs to be reviewed, looking into the encourage of the nutrition product, and the product which are exempted like plain milk, curd, plain chach, plain lassi, they should get a automatic 5-star rating or green FOPL. Means they are high in nutrition, their consumption needs to be addressed to address the malnutrition and other factors, and daily consumption needs to be addressed to ensure the nutritional security of the consumer. So any kind of 5-star rating or green FOPL, so that consumer can understand कि इस products पे तो कोई जरूरत ही नहीं है, because ये product automatically positive FOPL चाहिए, automatically healthy है, like plain milk, curd, plain charge. Modification in algorithm, obviously it is required. So considering 70% of saturated fat into it and 5% of lactose, currently the saturated fat starts in algorithm from 1 gram and we recommend it 4.5 gram. Considering buffalo milk fat, if it is 6, then 70% of saturated, then 4.5 we are recommending to start the saturated fat in the algorithm with a separate algorithm, not with the analog. Separate algorithm with 4.5 gram of the saturated fat. And lactose, we recommend 5 gram to get it start instead of 4.2. In addition to that, we also need to have India have a very diversified food habits, like local food, regional foods, indigenous foods. So in that context, national level diet study, consumer patterns, their habits, physical inactivity needs to be done while finalizing the FOPNL model. If we see the average consumption, that is sugar consumption, while WHO recommends कि 50 ग्राम आपको एक दिन में खाना चाहिए, अर्बन में 15.8 ग्राम and rural में 13.1 ग्राम against 50 ग्राम of WHO recommendation. Similarly, for average fat consumption, urban 52 and rural 36 against 67 gram of the fat consumption. So first we need to identify what exactly in Indian context, looking into diversified food habits, culturals, and region to region, variation into the foods and their preferences. This kind of study may help that what suitable FOPNL model we should be roll out, and this should be implemented in a phased manner. Like first consultation, large stakeholder consultation needs to be done, industry needs to be invited, academics needs to be invited, institutions, scientists. So all put together can definitely give some kind of valuable input into it to make it effective implementation rather than some kind of challenges which is being faced while implementation.
Thank you.
So, sir, this is from my side. Thank you. Thank you so much, sir, for giving me the opportunity. Thank you, sir.
Great presentation, Kalpam. And I think you have raised, at the fag end of the presentation, you raised certain very critical issue, and one pertaining to the requirement of research in Indian context. Reason being that all the time we are very proud of our diversity which we have got, and in that diversity, food diversity, because food and clothes are part of our subculture, and that way if every 50 or 100 kilometer our language changes, our slang changes, in that particular case our food also changes, our food taste, food choices also change. So thank you very much for this. And now quickly, before I call Mr. Pradip from Heritage, I would like to quickly take you through that. How is the chronology of this FOPL system in India, how it started? So most of the time when we look at it, we find that it got started somewhere in 2017 or so. In reality, it started in December 2010. And that was when, for the first time, a foundation by the name of Uday Foundation, they filed a public interest litigation in High Court. And they were seeking ban on sale of junk food and carbonated drinks in schools and within a radius, say around 500 meters or 500 yards, and other reliefs to protect children's health. So in Indian context, this whole, I would say, the ecosystem of FOPNL, which we are discussing right now, got started in 2010. 2011 onward, the FSS, Food Safety and Standard, these people started to have some kind of meeting, internal meeting, expert opinions, stakeholder meetings. And then they began treating from 2011 to 2015, we can say, treating junk food or HFSS. So the term HFSS came for the first time as far as the typical language for notification is concerned. And they consider it to be a public health priority. And I think that approach, when we talk of HFSS, so which is non-negotiable. So it is not by putting nuts I can have a better rating than against having high salt or high sugar. So whatever is non-negotiable is non-negotiable. So that HFSS approach particularly gives a better choice, and very simply at a very simple level, like what Mr. Kalpam was also mentioning, the customer will be able to decide on what he wants and what he doesn't. 2014 to 2017, the expert group work started and recommendation on HFSS started to come up, nutrient profiling and measures for school. And at that time, some studies also came out. And interestingly, it was 14th July 2017 when the first stakeholder meet with the experts held at India Habitat Center on this HFSS issue. And then, the draft note were being prepared with the expert committee. 2017 to 2018, some parliamentary attention also gained, and a few questions came that what you are doing with these school children and on health part. And it is just as a in the same sequence, in 2010 July 2018, FSSAI launched Eat Right movement. And I think we may be able to recall it was it came out with a big fanfare, and a lot of documents came out, and food safety testing vehicles came out, and some yatra also started at that time. In 2019, FSSAI issues advisory and press notes restricting sale, advertising of pre-packaged HFSS food in or around schools. So actually this choice set is more about that you simply create a list which are not healthy, and then somewhere you stop marketing of them. You may tax them more. Right now we are talking of tax regime, that this GST should be reduced on this food or that food. So all your policy related matter should be there to look into that. Okay, this is a list which is a restricted list. On this, on one side, awareness should be there that moderate its consumption. On other side, we should have all the reasons. Like I would like to quote over here, in Chile, particularly when these people came out with that warning sign. So they had 4 areas on this. They had on calories, they have sugar, on sodium, and what these people, or and saturated fat. So their ministry simply told one thing, and Chile is supposed to be one of the most successful model. It simply says products carrying at least one of these warning labels. It means that once it gets black, it means it is beyond those limits. Products carrying at least one of these warning labels are not allowed to use marketing strategies directed to children. For example, no cartoons, no gifts, no toys, no games, etc. on their packages. Health claims are allowed in regulated products only if they don't contradict the warning label. So they have simplified the whole system. 2019 it happened. In 2027 September, safe food and balanced diet for children in school regulation came. It got gazetted. 2020 again, food safety and standard labeling and display regulations, labeling consolidation occurred in the same. And then started 2019 to 21, research and evidence base grows, particularly on WHO models, academy studies, and national consultation. And then 20th September 2022 or 19th September 2022, FSSAI publishes draft FOPL regulation with INR Health Star style option for public comment. And let me tell you, the initial draft, which earlier came, I think somewhere on 4th May 2017 for HFSS. In the first draft, And I think for that, one gazette came in 2019 also. There was no health star rating. There was warning only on HFSS. It was for the first time that in September 22, we saw health star rating appearing in the government gazetted document. And then 2022 to 24, lot of debates on HSR, INR versus warning labels, Chile style specifically by civil society, public health groups call for warning labels. There have been numerous RTIs available. I would like that all the audience to actually go for secondary research and look for that. And they have come out with the questions were very logical on this particular thing, that would you like to confuse the consumer or you want to simplify their health choices. It was in April 2025 that again a litigation was being put in Supreme Court, and in 24, as a consequence to that, in April 25, Supreme Court, 9th April 25, Supreme Court asked the central government to finalize regulatory norms. And then first 3 months were over, and then it was requested for the second 3 months. They will get over on 15th of October. This is a complete chronology of how things have happened in India for last 15 years, the way this particular path is treated. Pradip ji, I would like to, because when we talk of diversity, then right from the heart of India, that is Delhi, now we are moving towards heart of South India. So, and I have got two eminent panelists from that side. So now I would like to, everyone is waiting to hear you, please. Maybe you are on mute. Thank you.
Thank you, Kuldeep ji. Nice to see all the panelists. Thank you, Dr. Sodi sir, Dr. J.B. Prajapati sir, and all other panelists, all other attendees. I am Pradip Das from Heritage Foods Limited, and I have a very brief presentation. Only 4 slides are there, and I will take only 5 to 6 minutes only. So let me share my files first. Is it visible?
Yes, yes.
Yes, please.
So the idea of this front of pack nutrition labeling has come as we have listened so many things, and thanks Kalpam ji so detailing out everything about these draft regulations. He has covered everything. So nothing is left for me to explain actually. But okay, we'll go through that overview of this front and pack nutritional labeling. Why it has come into the picture? We need to understand that first. That as Dr. Sodi sir has clearly told that lifestyle disease, and Kuldeep sir also told that non-communicable diseases are rising since probably last few decades. And because of that, there are so many issues like obesity, then hypertension, then heart diseases, then this diabetes are coming up. And one of the main reason of this is that unhealthy diet. All the information of the food pack is available on the food packets, the back of the food packet. But how many of us are actually reading those nutritional information? So very few people actually. I was just going through one article where I have observed that only 33% of the urban population actually reading the nutritional information. And about in the rural side, it is only 5 to 10% people are actually going through that nutritional information. And unfortunate part is that most of the people also do not understand the technicality of the nutritional information also. So if we see that very few, only probably the 1 to 2% people actually understand the nutritional information given in the backside of the packs. So, and this is not a problem in India, this is a global issue. And so World Health Organization and Codex Alimentarius has come up with the idea of FOPNL. So that actually they they have recommended the FOPNL that some of the major information will come at the front of the packs. Many countries has adopted this FOPNL structure in different format. Like this Australia and New Zealand has taken the star rating. France has taken this nutri levels. Then the Chile and Brazil has taken as a just warning level. UK has taken as a that traffic signal format. So every country has decided on their own basis, and they've excluded certain products from that category. So the purpose is that it should be available to the consumers. Consumers should be rightly informed so that they can take that proper decision making at the time of purchase. At the same time, this also pushes the manufacturers to reformulate their product for the better nutrition. And ultimately, it will strengthen the consumers' trust with the manufacturers and government as a whole. Then what is the problem? Imagine that a mother has gone to the superstore with her son, and she purchased one packet of milk, flavored milk, and another packet of chips. Suddenly, the son asked his mom that, "Mommy, which is better one, the chips or the milk?" And that the milk packet has a 2-star rating and chips packet has a 4-star rating. So definitely, mom does not have any answer but to say that star rating, as per the star rating, this chips is the better, but that is not the true case. That exactly we actually the risk we face if labeling or designing of labeling is not clear, or designing of labeling system is not clear. So here the problem is that in the draft notification given by the FSSI in 2022, that it covers only the 3 major elements: sugar, fat, and this sodium, salt, but ignores that calcium, protein, vitamins, probiotics, and other micronutrients. Protein is covered, but net weightage is not there. So what happens actually if such cases, if we follow that, suppose if this particular draft notification is implemented, then all the dairy products, some of the dairy products are already exempted, like milk, buttermilk, plain buttermilk, plain curd, ghee. But the products which are not exempted will come up with a rating of 1 or 2 star, hardly. Some probably 1 or 2 product will come into up to 3 star. Because the dairy product will be punished based on the saturated fat, sugar and this sodium content or like that, which are natural to the product. There are so much research is available about which Kaplanji already explained it in detail. So I will not go into that details. So consumer may be discouraged based on this rating. So that is a big risk for the dairy industry if this is implemented, because dairy is considered as a vehicle for the nutrition to the nation. If this vehicle is derailed, then everything will be derailed going forward. Then that situation will be further worsened, that hidden hunger will further grow, and micronutrition deficiency will increase. So what is the correction need to be done? First of all, some products are exempted, and we expect that all dairy products should be exempted. At least all core dairy products should be exempted. Or if not exempted, then as Kalpamji has told, that it should be categorized as a separate system, and calculation should be done separately. And whatever product is exempted should be given the 5-star rating. Otherwise, it will be again, it will be people will not understand that. So that is also required. And as far as the quality of the nutrients is concerned, there is no doubt that milk protein is better than the other proteins. The quantity of or quality of amino acid it has, essential amino acids, and the biological value is far is higher than the all other proteins. Same is for milk fat. Milk fat, saturated fat, milk fat is generally considered as a neutral or some advantages are there, not than the other way around. Whether the other fat, whether it is a vegetable fat or animal fat, all other fats have some issues are there. There is a calculation, there is a serving size, there is a calculation is done on the basis of 100 gram or 100 ml. That is also a matter of concern because we do not consume 100 ml ghee at a time, right? Or 100 gram butter at a time. So consumption probably 10 ml or 20 ml. So serving size should be considered at the time of calculation, not the 100 gram or 100 ml straightforward. Also, the micronutrients like calcium is a major source of calcium, milk and milk products. So all the micronutrients come into the calculation. So that will raise the rating of the milk. Otherwise, that people will find that chips has a higher rated product, that cold drinks, this diet cola will be the higher rated than the buttermilk, spice buttermilk. Margarine will be the better than the butter, or the tofu will be better than the paneer. So all these things will be happen, and there will be a lot of confusion will be among this. We all know, the entire nation knows that milk and milk product is the superior product, and it contains all the nutrients and everything. It's a complete food. So what is the way forward? FOPNL should guide the consumer, not misguide the consumers. So the design, it should be designed in such a way that it educate the customer to take the decision, not confuse the customer. And always remember the dairy is the cornerstone of our nutrition and culture. So we should preserve that culture. We should preserve those products. Ratings should portray the full picture, holistic picture, not on the basis of 3 or 4 elements. And policy should protect the consumer's health. It should preserve the traditional proven product and promote balanced nutrition. So I have given a very outline only. I have not gone to the depth of the research and other things. So I hope this will help. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. I think from your brief presentation, very crisp and very sharp, I can just take one line that this FOPL should guide and not confuse or misguide. I think that is very important, and the data also which you shared on the lines of that, it is not that everyone is looking at the label and buying at the label. And simultaneously, there have been other studies also which have shown that based on the socio-economic class, the tendency to look, first of all, the tendency to buy the packaged foods, and secondly, to look at the label. So this also varies. And in a country where, majority of our people come from a rural background and the lower socio-economic strata, how much it is going to help? That's a very, very, very big question. Coming back before I come to Mr. Mohan, so as I was talking about chronology, I would like to just raise a couple of points, I think, which are very much aligned and echoed by what Mr. Kalpam has mentioned or Pradip ji has just mentioned, that in 2017, that expert committee, when they came out with their kind of recommendation in that particular, that was on HFSS, that at that time the star rating was not there, and how logical those points were. So they were saying that first of all, as I mentioned to you, that the consumption of these HFSS based on studies by NIN, and maybe more studies are required under diverse conditions with different kind of foods. There should be a reliable monitoring system to FSS intake periodically. So this is very important, because like any other clinical research, this should also be done, that the food pattern studies should be there. And these should not be done just on a population of 2,000 or 3,000 and just for the period of 2 months or 3 months. It has to be consistently done. I've gone through multiple studies in Harvard where they talk about that this study is on 30,000 people, and let's say happening for last 20 years. I think China study is one of the book by Dr. Campbell, which we can look at, where, you know, those long-term studies are there, and they will give a better idea on food consumption and then their impact on health later on. The most important part with which this story began in 2010, when that PIL was filed, that ban on foods with high FSS advertising on children's channel or during children's shows. That was urged. Imposition of additional tax on the purchase of ultra-processed commodities and sugar-sweetened beverages, very important. This, and I'm talking of 2007, all these recommendations were being made at that time. There should be a nutrition education and awareness program, which should be included in the curriculum. Advocating reformulation of commercialized products. Industry should be encouraged for voluntary reformulation of food products to reduce the contents of fats, that is saturated fats and trans fat, sugar and salt in packaged foods, not reformulating it to make them a better start product. For example, a very simple example was being given by Dr. Lindsay. She again did a study on this star rating system with one of the organization in India, and then she said that how simple it is for a chocolate which is coming at a 0.5 rating to become a 3 or 3.5 rating product just by adding fruit and nuts. So what exactly is changing? Nothing is changing, but just you are, just confusing the consumer. Then role of positive nutritional labeling. This is very important. Whatever it is, not only limited to whatever is bad, we should warn about that. Whatever is good, we should somewhere give them some kind of outrightly 5-star rating. Outrightly. So milk outrightly. So certainly I belong to dairy, so I always talk about dairy. But yes, for any good food should get 5-star rating outrightly. And lastly, provide a nutrition sensitive and an enabling environment to make healthier choices. It should not be all the time, that enforcement is there. All the time we look at it from that perspective. I think how to promote people making good choices or choices for good should be the criteria. So with this, I would like to invite Mr. Mohan. And Mr. Mohan, I think you have a presentation also. So please.
Yeah. Very good evening to everyone. Thank you, Mr. Kuldeep. Thank you, Sodhi sir, for having me on this panel and enabling the industry representation for this very important topic, especially at a time when the Supreme Court is under pressure to kind of deliver some kind of is giving a deadline kind of thing. Definitely, I'll just speak about the perceptions, because my co-panelists have already explained in detail about how the scoring is done, what are the lacunae in the current scoring. So, from an industry perspective, if I see, there is the perception is going to be hit very badly. So, anything which is a low star is likely to be treated as a bad. Anything which is a high star will automatically get healthy. So, and actually what's happening is the nuances of these particular things are getting lost. Food is being treated as a sum of parts, not as an individual, multidimensional micronutrients are considered, allergens and additives. All these things are ignored. And there is every chance of the vulnerable groups like diabetic people and those people with some special allergies missing the key details, and they could end up making wrong choices. So this is one of the risks if this particular FOPNL will get into implementation as is. So, and there is another risk is about the behavior, herd behavior, which can happen. So anything can get into herd behavior. So just for an example, for us, this dairy has been placed into some categories, special categories, category 2. So what will happen is dairy, if we go by this, I will just present one slide on what it looks like for a dairy. So I will just. So is my slide visible? Please let me know.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Yeah. So if I have just taken an example, just following the same methodology which Mr. Kalpam has taught us in the early part of this session. So the sterilized flavor milk, the mixed fruit juice, Coke, and even the alcohol beverages. So this particular rating system enables all these items from different categories to be put into the same basket. And there will be a scenario where even the alcohol beverages and Coke will get rated, and the sterilized milk, flavored milk will also get rated. So this is something which is the key impact, because dairy, as if it is not being treated as a separate category, there is a risk that an unknown individual can actually say that even beer is given a rating, or a Coke is also given a rating almost at par with sterilized flavored milk. So another example I would like to take here. This is about the paneer versus tofu. So going with the same score, the paneer, the milk paneer, which is having around 18 to 20% of the protein, will get something around 2.5 to 3 star. Whereas tofu, which is plant-based protein, soya protein, will get something around 5 star. But actually, what is the key things that are getting missed is, if I see, this is just a comparison on the superiority of the milk protein, which is actually getting ignored. The completeness of protein and its health benefits are very, very clearly missing in this kind of calculations which are being considered. It just considers the content of protein, not the quality of the protein. So if you see, milk is one protein which has all the essential amino acids, 9 amino acids which are there, and that too they are almost in a higher number when it is compared with other plant-based proteins. So on any given day, the milk protein superiority is much higher compared to what the other plant-based proteins are giving to a consumer. But at the end of the day, when the rating says 5 and the milk paneer gets a rating of 2.5, for an average buyer who doesn't have time, he will never get visibility of all these micro details and micronutrients, and they will end up making the wrong choices. So similarly, even the sugars, we were discussing how different the role of sugar. The milk sugar, which is present naturally in the form of lactose, it is having a lesser the glycemic index, whereas the sucrose, which is having a higher GI, and there are multiple benefits which are there, even the digestibility, and which even sometimes the galactose, which is a part of the milk sugar, acts as a prebiotic. So all these benefits are getting ignored when it comes to this particular FOPNL rating. So in a nutshell, so this kind of rating is definitely not recommended from a dairy point of view, and key bioavailability factors and key nutrient values are being ignored. Especially industry is definitely going to get the dairy industry, and everyone is going to get a hit just because of the perception that is directly impacting, especially in the social media that is currently influencing a lot of purchasing ability of the people. So this is what is there. So even the milk fat, when we were talking about milk fat, so Mr. Kalpam also talked much about the benefits of the saturated milk fat versus normal. So even if you see the healthier, see what they say is palm oil. Most of the foods which are made with palm oil, they are completely missing a key point that is mentioned, that is part of the milk fat, which was earlier mentioned by Mr. Prajapati. So overall, it has been the scientifically enough data is there, enough research is there to prove that the milk fat is unique in its nature, and it has got its own cultural sensitivities, which calls for separate scoring for the milk fat. So in a nutshell, the recommendations which I would like to share is that yes, the nutrient density has to be considered when you want to have a separate framework, and then the food matrix effect needs to be considered on what all are the micronutrients that are present, what is the bioavailability, the biodigestibility factors, the cultural relevance and the dependency cannot be ignored for the dairy. And then variety, there are multiple varieties within dairy, so which actually calls for separate category for dairy itself for positive nutrient crediting. And the information has to be very, very clearly conveyed. And another recommendation which I would like to give is, if this particular thing cannot be started on a mass scale, it is always recommended to have this kind of ratings on a small scale to one particular category of the foods by the FSSAI, and then pilot it and then see how it happens, rather than directly impacting the millions of consumers. So that's what I have from my side.
Thank you, Mr. Mohan. I think the comparison of paneer and tofu has been liked by audience the most, and we are getting some kind of comments on that particular understanding. Taking it further, so this first round in which we tried to understand about this FOPL thing and the health star rating part of it, let me give you a kind of global scenario. What's the situation right now? Globally, we found that 95 countries have mandatory policies for nutrient declarations on packages of processed products. It means it is talking about the NI part of it only. These include 41 countries in Europe, 19 in America, 14 in the Western Pacific, 9 in Africa, 7 in the Eastern Mediterranean region, and 5 countries from Southeast Asia. Additionally, 71 countries have policies on the use of nutrient claims like fat-free, excellent source, and fortified. European region has the highest number of countries, 37, that have rules on nutrient claims. Front of pack labeling FOPL policies have been introduced in 44 countries as supplementary nutrition information. Of these, only 16 countries have adopted FOPL as mandatory, while others have implemented it voluntarily. The FOPL systems include warning labels, keyhole logo, health star rating, traffic light labeling, Nutri-Score, and healthy choice logos. When it comes to health star rating, we couldn't find any other country than Australia and New Zealand, that ANZ part, and later on coming to us. So this is in brief. I would like to tell everyone that what the world is doing and what we are trying to do. Coming back to Dr. Prajapati very quickly, because this, in all the three presentations, this analog was being discussed a lot. I would like that briefly in 5-7 minutes time, if you can briefly tell about these analogs. First of all, I know you advocate for dairy, particularly in front of media, otherwise also, and you are very much against, not against, but because you are very much against the ethics in which those people are using dairy terms while selling analogs. So you are not against analogs per se.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
you are
never.
against why, that ethical thing that comes first to you. So please help us understand what's the difference, please.
Yes, yes, Kuldeep, actually, you're right. Actually, since last 6 years in the FSSI Milk and Milk Products panel, we faced this issue of analogs, which all started with frozen desserts and ice cream and then all these things. But I think before I tell about analogs, Kuldeep ji, I am tempted to tell you 2 or 3 things. See, all these things about FOPL or FOPNL started with the objective to restrict the use of अल्ट्रा प्रोसेस फूड्स और हाईली प्रोसेस फूड्स और जंक फूड्स, उसको रोकने के लिए सब एक्सरसाइज किया गया है. और अभी हम डिफेंसिव मोड में आ गया है कि वी शुड प्रोटेक्ट दैट, वी शुड नॉट. सो आई थिंक द एंटायर थिंग इज गोइंग इन द रॉन्ग डायरेक्शन. और दूसरा एक जो मेरे को लगता है मेरे पर्सनल हिसाब से कि और स्टार रेटिंग में रेड स्टार लगा रहा है. सो द परसेप्शन इज रॉन्ग कि आपका 3 रेड स्टार है, 4 रेड स्टार है, मतलब इट इज समथिंग मोर डेंजरस. हमारा मेंटालिटी ऐसा हुआ है, तो मैं 4 रेड स्टार देखूंगा तो फेंक दूंगा कि वो तो बहुत डेंजरस है. सो ये चीज पता नहीं क्यों कॉमन जो है उसमें समझ में नहीं आ रहा है. तो जंक फूड को रोकने के लिए कर रहा था और जंक फूड में दे देना चाहिए और उसको बैन कर देना चाहिए. दैट वाज सिंपल थिंग. बट बात आई अभी एनालॉग्स की और फ्रोजन डेजर्ट की, और हमको ज्यादा चिंता इसलिए हो रही है कि जो एग्जम्पशन लिस्ट है सर, इसके अंदर उसको साथ साथ एनालॉग भी रखा है. तो फिर इतना मेहनत करने का मतलब क्या था? बिकॉज एनालॉग्स आर द प्रोडक्ट्स, यू कैन मॉडिफाई एनीथिंग. आप कुछ भी मैनिपुलेट कर सकते हो. While we go dairy products with the definition, dairy terms, we have restriction, we cannot modify it. So आप एनालॉग को बहुत हेल्दी बना सकते हो विथ मिनिमम मैनिपुलेशंस. आपका जो प्लांट बेस्ड मिल्क्स है, दे आर अल्ट्रा प्रोसेस्ड फूड्स, बिकॉज बहुत सारी चीजें डाली जाती है, काफी सारा प्रोसेस किया जाता है. तो आउटराइट दे शुड बी सेपरेट कैटेगरी ऑफ 0 स्टार रेटिंग. आई एम नॉट अगेंस्ट प्लांट बेस्ड, बट आप किसी भी सीड का एक्सट्रैक्ट करके व्हाइट लिक्विड बना देते हो, हाउ कैन यू कॉल इट इज अ मिल्क? इट इज टोटली डिफरेंट. मिल्क जैसा जो इसका कंपोजिशन है, उसको नियर भी कोई प्रोडक्ट बना करके देखो, वी एग्री विद दैट, बट ऐसा कभी नहीं होता है. सो वी हैव टू डिफाइन नाउ ईच एंड एवरी न्यूट्रिएंट एंड देयर कोएक्सिस्टेंस. तो वी हैव ए ग्रेटेस्ट रिस्क ऑफ दिस एनालॉग्स इन टर्म्स ऑफ बटर, जो प्योरली वेजिटेबल ऑयल से बनता है, और वही बटर जब फ्राइंग यूज होता है तो कितना ज्यादा डेंजरस होता है. वेजिटेबल बेस्ड बटर देखो और मिल्क वाला देख लो, तो ट्रांसफैट का जनरेशन जो है, इट इज मोर डेंजरस. सो अवर एडवोकेसी शुड बी दैट बटर शुड नॉट बी put at par in any of the dairy products with that, and because they are separate, totally separate. Same thing is with paneer analogs. आइसक्रीम और फ्रोजन डेजर्ट की तो एक्सप्लेनेशन भी किया आपने डाल के, स्लाइड डाल के, कि पुटिंग समथिंग विच इज हैविंग लोअर सैचुरेटेड फैटी एज फैट, यू कैन बी रैंक्ड हायर. सो एनालॉग्स should be removed from the list of exempted products, and they should have ranking at par with the highly processed foods or ultra processed foods, because they are mostly ultra processed foods, because they have to do modifications to add non milk ingredients into that product. सीधी सी बात है, इट्स वेरी सिंपल थिंग. सो दैट शुड नॉट बी देयर. सो एनालॉग्स की बात वो रखो. और जब हेल्थ की एस्पेक्ट की बात आती है, अभी शायद कल्पना ने बताया, कुछ स्टडीज भी बताया कि मिल्क को जिस तरह से ब्लेम किया, कि अभी मैं ऑडियंस में देख रहा हूँ कुछ क्वेश्चंस एंड क्वेरीज, they're also asking about what will happen with saturated fat and high fat, and it may cause diabetes and other things. So if you give 2-3 minutes, Kuldeep ji, I can show you 3-4 slides from Dr. Mohan's presentation, क्योंकि उनका स्टडी जो है शायद वो अंडरमाइंड. कैन आई शेयर मैं 2-4 स्लाइड प्रेजेंट कर दूं बीच में, कुलदीप जी?
Sure, sir, sure. Mr. Mohan, can you please share your presentation?
Not this Mohan.
I
Mohan
remember.
from...
Sorry. That Bombay one.
मैंने अभी डेस्कटॉप पर खोला है उसको.
Yeah. I remember.
Let me see if I can show. Yeah. Is it visible now?
Visible.
Yes, sir.
Actually, this I am taking the Valencia presentation which I have to make on 10th of September. जो मैंने largely oh sorry, it should come from this, from current slide. कहाँ चलेगा? मैंने निकाल के रखा था.
Sir, this presentation has become your signature presentation now.
नहीं, मैं उधर ले जाता हूँ जहां से मैं शुरू करना चाहता था. Yes. So this is from Dr. Mohan. अभी देखिए सर, ये स्टडी जो आप बता रहे थे ना,
Can you make it in full screen, sir? Can you expand it to full screen?
this is full screen for on my screen. Is it not there?
Sir, there is a PowerPoint presentation sign just at the bottom. If you can,
No, it is showing as a full screen on my these things. This is slideshow for a current slide.
just bring
Is
the
it there
cursor.
now?
Please. Sir, bring the cursor down, please. चलिए कोई बात नहीं सर, प्लीज कैरी ऑन. ओके.
So this is the study with 2,25,000 participants. पहले तो 5 लाख पार्टिसिपेंट थे और 27 कंट्रीज में है. एंड दिस स्टडी लास्टेड फॉर मोर देन 20 years. इट्स अ लॉन्गिट्यूडिनल स्टडी. और उसका जो आउटकम है वो मैं दिखा देता हूं. See, the higher intake of dairy was associated with a moderately lower prevalence of metabolic syndrome. Metabolic syndrome means all the three: hypertension, obesity, and type 2 diabetes. So, जितना ज्यादा आप डेयरी प्रोडक्ट खा रहे हो, इतना आपको रिस्क ज्यादा है ये डिसीज होने का. दूसरा स्टडी अभी ग्लाइसेमिक इंडेक्स किया था, जो डायबिटीज में मिल्क को बदनाम कर दे उसके लिए. सी द ग्लाइसेमिक इंडेक्स. ये ब्लू वाला जो है ग्लूकोज का है, और ये जो नीचे मैजेंटा कलर दिखता है इट इज फॉर मिल्क, और इधर जो येलो है दैट इज फॉर दही. देखो कितना बढ़िया है.
Sir, have you changed the
स्लाइड
slide?
मूव नहीं हो रहा है. स्लाइड नॉट मूविंग.
Slide is not moving, sir.
There is some technical issues then.
हाँ,
Yes,
अभी
now it is visible.
हाँ, तो क्या करूं, भी तो पंगा हो रहा है.
It's visible now, sir. It's visible.
अच्छा, तो ग्लाइसेमिक इंडेक्स का मैंने एक एग्जांपल रखा है. इट वाज अ स्मॉल स्टडी बट इट शोज दैट हाउ मिल्क इज मच बेटर, एंड उससे भी अच्छा दही है जो येलो डॉट्स में है. एक दूसरा स्टडी था टाइप 2 डायबिटीज का. उसका कंक्लूजन में ये था, टोटल एंड फर्मेंटेड डेयरी प्रोडक्ट पर्टिकुलरली प्लेन योगर्ट आर प्रोटेक्टिव अगेंस्ट टाइप 2 डायबिटीज, while milk, cheese and other dairy products have a neutral or no effect. पॉजिटिव तो किसी का नहीं है. ये दूसरा बड़ा स्टडी था जिसके अंदर इसमें भी 20-25 कंट्री के लोग इन्वॉल्व थे, और उसका भी कंक्लूजन यही है. ये सब जो उसको ग्राफ पढ़ना आता है उसको पता होगा कि लोअर साइड में होता है कि इट इज प्रोटेक्टिव इफेक्ट. सो इसका भी आउटकम वही था कि डेयरी कंजप्शन वाज एसोसिएटेड विद लोअर रिस्क ऑफ मोर्टालिटी. मतलब मरने का चांसेस भी अगर आप डिसीज हो गया है तो दूध और दूध प्रोडक्ट खाते हो तो कम होता है. ये देखिए इस कोहॉर्ट स्टडी में पार्टिसिपेंट कितने थे, देखिए 8,96,871. इतने पार्टिसिपेंट का रिजल्ट क्या है कि हाई इंटेक ऑफ योगर्ट कंपेयर्ड विद लो इंटेक वाज सिग्निफिकेंटली एसोसिएटेड विद लोअर रिस्क ऑफ डेथ फ्रॉम द कॉजेज. मतलब किसी भी कॉज से डेथ का चांसेस आपका कम होता है इफ यू हैव मोर ऑफ योगर्ट और दही. सो this was something which I wanted to show. So this milk cannot be compared, cannot be put at par with any of the analogs or any of the other products, and hence it deserves a separate category. तो बाद में बताऊंगा कि what I suggest as a remedy to tackle this problem. और अभी शायद जो एफएसएसआई में ये पूरा रिकमेंडेशन सीईओ के पास जाके अभी शायद अथॉरिटी में कब रखेंगे वो वी डू नॉट नो, बट शायद दे विल हैव टू टेक सम डिसीजन बिफोर 15th of October because that is the last date set, or they may ask for extension. But it is likely that there will be pressure from the junk food manufacturing industry also, because their sale may also get affected. Dairy as it is per se, I think we should not be much troubled by this, because the overall Indian people know that this milk is healthier or the beverage is healthier. They know. So whether you put a label or not, that doesn't matter much. But it is likely to misguide the young generations, and that may get diverted towards the unhealthy products rather than going for the healthy products. So this is a concern for all of us and as a whole to the society. And I think as a dairy professional, we should put our point forward, and we can make a set of recommendation from idea side and submit it to the government.
Sure, sir. Sure, sir.
So एनालॉग्स का सर उसमें सेपरेट कर देना, ये दैट इज माय रिकमेंडेशन.
नहीं, perfectly, sir. I think you made your point, and particularly the way you have shared the studies. And over here, when we are discussing these studies, let me bring a very brief critique on that IIM Ahmedabad study, which has been used as I would say, that is the basis of switching from, let's say, the earlier notification of HFSS and converting that into the star rating system. So I didn't want to bring this particular point, but just at the concluding part, and where Dr. Prajapati has shown some remarkable seminal studies. Indeed, I attended one of the session of Dr. Mohan. Dr. Prajapati gave me an opportunity to attend his session, and it was very interesting to see that even before conducting any study, the review of literature was having 1600 papers. So that is such an exhaustive kind of base, to base any research on. Now, one of the studies, so this IIM Ahmedabad study, and it talked about 5 different kind of labeling option. And then suddenly and abruptly, it concludes that health star rating is the best. One of the critic mentioned, I would like to take words from him. What is the objective of the study? Neither in the executive summary nor in the detailed introduction it is clearly stated. We have to figure it out from the final paragraph on the recommendation. Why this question is important at the outset? Because the methodology should follow meeting those objectives. Because I think the most critical part of any study is the objective itself. If it is well established that FOPLs have ability to nudge healthy consumption behavior with regards to packaged foods, as stated in the opening sentence of the executive summary, then that aspect need not be probed and should be kept out of this methodology. It means, what exactly are we trying to test? When right in the beginning, we have mentioned it is asking somebody that you tell me what is the color of my black shirt. So in that particular case, if you are so sure of that kind of rating system which you want to recommend, then why you are doing the research at first place? And concluding it, it is not only the IIM study. Earlier, the studies were conducted by ICMR and National Institute of Nutrition also. These studies, and there was another by International Institute for Population Sciences, Mumbai. They found that warning labels consistently outperform health stars and other formats in helping consumers identify unhealthy food products. University of North Carolina, from where Dr. Lindsay was there, I was mentioning in my presentation earlier. Global Food Research Program confirms that only warning labels have real-world impact in curbing consumption of HFSS. According to ICMR, NIN dietary guidelines, 54% of all deaths are related to unhealthy diets. Despite rising obesity rates in India, driven by HFSS food consumption, FOPNL regulation has languished for more than a decade. Government of India had set targets to halt obesity by 2025, a goal that seems increasingly out of reach. Under the SARS system, because there is only one or two countries going for it, food packets may earn between half a star to 5 stars. But crucially, there is no provision to explicitly label any food as unhealthy. The health star rating system was introduced by the Australian and New Zealand governments in 2014 to assign health ratings to packaged foods and beverage. Interestingly, and this is my concluding line today, a decade of use in Australia and New Zealand shows it has not significantly improved public health outcomes there. So this is in totality, how we discussed various aspects, the chronology at a global level, at national level, how it evolved and how things are happening. We have heard from our eminent panelists. I would like to conclude over here, and before we take questions, there are a couple of very good questions coming up, and we have a timeline, say up to 5, maybe with everyone's permission, we would like to extend it by another 10-15 minutes so that our panelists could answer our audience for their presence. Sir, indeed, it's a great privilege to have such a patient audience that we started close to 430-40 members, and even till now there are close to 350, which I think it's commendable, and they deserve a lot of appreciation from our Indian Dairy Association and from all of us, sir. Coming back to you, sir, now I would like to ask you that we have got, or even before that, if very quickly, I think I am just citing the kind of recommendations which have come. Warning sign is a better option. Now, in what way it will come or how it should be done, that's one thing. Another thing to be seen, list of unhealthy foods should be created. And then, like in earlier kind of expert comments also of the committee, it was being mentioned that have those unhealthy food listed and then see, how you can restrict it uses with kids or otherwise. There should be a separate box for dairy. It means that dairy should not be compared. If you are putting with let's say solid food, then in that particular comparison will be done over there. So there should be a separate category for dairy per se, looking at the salience of dairy. So dairy is earning it naturally. And while our panelists were talking about, so they were very simply saying that we are not going to manipulate with our kind of nutrient to gain a higher star rating. No, we don't want that. So if my paneer, so let there be comparison between my paneer and cheese. Let my consumer see that, okay, within that category, how it is faring. Then dairy salience should be considered, and particularly, the way we have talked about the protein, the calcium. In the audience, I think Dr. Alok Saxena was there. He was also adding on the essential amino acids over and above, Mr. Mohan, the list which you created. And Mr. Alok Saxena is also from NDRI Karnal, so it's a big fraternity. And lastly, why not to have ultra processed food in a separate category and let them fight over whatever they have in the sense. So these are couple of things which I could gather. Over and above that, if any of the panelists within a minute can make any other recommendation, or we can have offline also, before I hand it over to Dr. Sodi on how to take it forward. Yes, please.
सर, मैं कुलदीप जी मेरा 4-5 फाइनल रिकमेंडेशन दे देता हूँ, मैंने लिख कर रखा। फर्स्ट थिंग इज
एक बोला था
नहीं, एक तो आपने जो नहीं टच किया, जो आपने किया नहीं बोलूंगा, एक तो आर्टिफिशियल स्वीटनर्स वाली जो बात है वो भी एक अलग होना चाहिए, क्योंकि सी व्हेन यू आर रिप्लेसिंग 10 or 15% sugar and putting a milligram of artificial sweetener does not become healthy, because artificial sweeteners themselves have their own adverse effects जो लॉन्ग टर्म में अभी दिखाई देते लोगों को। दूसरा, ये आपने जो भी लास्ट बोला वो मैंने पहले से लगा रखा है कि अल्ट्रा प्रोसेस फूड हैज टू बी सेपरेट कैटेगरी। डेयरी की कैटेगरी की बात छोड़ो, वो तो अलग करा दो, क्योंकि उसके लिए सब कुछ शुरू किया है। तीसरा है कि जो रेटिंग वाला रेड है ना स्टार, उसके जगह ग्रीन बनाओ, कि मोर ग्रीन मीन्स बेटर। ये तो 4 रेड है, तो जैसे मैंने बोला कि इट इज समथिंग डिफरेंट। और जो अगर अभी एग्जिस्टिंग लिस्ट है वही कंटिन्यू करती है, तो उसमें से एनालॉग हटाओ और उसके अंदर बटर, पनीर, चीज डाल दो। दिस इज द सिंपल थिंग। बस दैट्स ऑल फ्रॉम माय साइड। थैंक यू।
Thank you, sir. Mr. Pradip, would you like to say something?
Yes, rating activity, that rating model should be checked properly by the entire dairy industry fraternity, because the calculation part is very important, and we need to ensure that all dairy products should come at least 4 and above.
It means you want to check algorithm from dairy lines.
Yeah.
So let the algorithm be seen from the dairy line.
Because some capping is given, some this part is also there. Those 2 parts should be taken care during this designing system.
Yeah, I understand that. Thank you. Kalpam ji?
Yes, sir. So though you all have covered all the points, my recommendation is that any FOPNL model, be it any kind of model, should be designed in such a way that it should encourage the consumption of the nutritious and healthier foods, including milk and milk products. I'm not saying only that dairy foods are only nutritious and healthier. All including other nutritious food, they should not be discouraged. They should be encouraged. That's my recommendation. Depending on the regional, national consumption pattern, diet, study, food habits, all these factors needs to be taken into consideration before finalizing and implementation of the FOPNL. That's our objective.
Certainly, certainly. Thank you very much. And I think I would like to add one more thing over here. I haven't made any recommendation. I've stolen everything from you people. So there is nothing from my side. It's from your presentation only that I'm picking up. Mohanji.
Yes, adding to whatever our panelists and you have mentioned. So one thing is, especially on the algorithm part, the nutrient density of the milk and the food matrix effect that carries has to be very clearly delineated. Just creating a category will not solve the problem unless the algorithm is kind of justified in line with the dairy nutrient density.
Very good.
And the bioavailability factors and the quality of the sugars, protein, and fat.
Yeah. So what you are trying to say that food matrix part of dairy should become the basis of that algorithm.
Correct.
That should set the protocol for all these calculations.
Correct.
Thank you. Sir, to you, sir. Sodi, sir.
I'd like to thank all the panelists and Kuldeep Sharma ji for a wonderful session. Let me tell you, this webinar with more than 400 participants, that too a webinar or discussion which have prolonged for more than 2 hours. In IDA, we have never seen such enthusiasm or participation. Very good participation. It shows that topic selected was very relevant as on today. The panelists or the experts who are there sharing their knowledge were very much accepted and liked by all the attendees. And because of very knowledgeable presentation and the expert views, people continue to watch for more than 2 hours. It's very encouraging for IDA that in future we should continue to hold such webinar on such top. I'm not saying very technical. It was reasonably technical, but also very, very relevant for everybody. Very contemporary topic where everybody could understand and can correlate. What I want to say, you are given good recommendations. What I was saying that, we'll say that dairy is 5-star, dairy is natural, dairy is good. But I think we should try to induct or encourage few reputed nutritionists and food scientists to speak कि भाई flavored milk is much better than the carbonated drinks, or paneer is better than the tofu. I mean, when they speak, people will listen. So I think that is required if we can provide such information to some nutritionists, because they look for such type of topics. And then it will get propagated to various people. Then it will have more impact. So I thank you all the participants and all the panelists. Thank you very much.
कुलदीप जी, एक सब कुछ लोगों का रिक्वेस्ट था, so it's for हरिओम for certificate. Actually, those who wish, you can generate a quick Google form for feedback, and those registered participants who give feedback, you may generate an online certificate and give them. Maybe many of the academics, they want it.
Sure, sir.
Yonji, over to you for question answer session, please.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. And I thank Dr. Sodi, sir, all the panelists and moderators for a wonderful insight today. And we had, as Sodi sir told me, a wonderful audience, around 500 participants and 425 on regular basis. So there are some questions also from the participant, and I would like to ask some of, because we have less time, so few selected questions. And later on, the rest of the question will independently answer and send them on the mail. So one question which come from Diptam Das. So the question is, what is lactose intolerance and how it is managed by dairy processing? So lactose intolerance, Dr. Prajapati sir, I would like to give your insight on this. There are a lot of misconception regarding lactose intolerance. So can you please give some insight on this?
I think it's a big topic, but everybody knows that lactose is the main sugar present in milk. It's typical sugar in milk. It is composed of glucose and galactose, and it is broken by the enzyme called as beta galactosidase. तो कुछ लोगों में इसका नेचुरल सिक्रीशन बॉडी में अच्छी तरह से नहीं होता है, so they are not able to digest that, and that leads to flatulence and other things. So for them, I think dairy industry has started giving the lactose hydrolyzed products, lactose free products also, that they can go for, or the other alternatives go for fermented product. Because when the milk is converted into dahi or chas or yogurt, almost 25% of lactose is getting already broken into glucose and galactose, and that kind of product can be well tolerated by those lactose intolerant people. Lactose human being needs, because the galactose part of that lactose is very, very important for our brain development. So दूध पीते हो तो आपका दिमाग अच्छा चलेगा. उसके लिए I will not go into details of science, but this is the brief answer, that you have options for lactose, low lactose or lactose free, and go for dahi or chas or so.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Mr. Amit Sharma, so he highlighted this concern which was of the color of the star. So I think Prajapati sir has already cleared it that there should be other color like green or something. So that is already answered. Then another question from Sunil Chaudhary, Mr. Sunil Chaudhary, that frying oil fat and milk fat, which is more hazardous to health, or even if are they really hazardous? So Prajapati sir, again, because you are expert on this, your point of view on this, sir.
नहीं, मैंने सैचुरेटेड फैट के बारे में बता दिया कि सब लोगों को सैचुरेटेड फैट की चिंता होती है. तो सैचुरेटेड फैट दूध का कैसे डिफरेंट है, क्योंकि विद इन सैचुरेटेड फैट कैटेगरी देखो 66% होता है ऑन एन एवरेज. उसके अंदर शॉर्ट चेन फैटी एसिड्स, मीडियम चेन फैटी एसिड्स, दे हैव शॉर्ट. देखो ब्यूट्रिक एसिड का तो सबको पता है, विच इज इवन सिंथेसाइज्ड इन योर इंटेस्टाइन, दैट हाउ मेनी हेल्थ बेनिफिट्स इट हैज. और जो लॉन्ग चेन है उसमें भी जो ब्रांड चेन है, ब्रांच चेन, और जो odd carbon chain होते हैं, they are beneficial to you. So only a small part of it can be of concern, but that becomes negligible in that. In comparison to that, कि vegetable oils में जो unsaturated fat होता है, when it is fried, it is the fatty acids which are the fat content which is getting oxidized, and other compounds are generated which are much more toxic, much more health hazardous than the saturated fat in milk. So in no way we can compare, and we should not be concerned about the saturated fat of that. और जो लोगों को ओबेसिटी का डर था कि भी इतना फैट खाने से we will become obese, इससे रिवर्स, ये फैट खाने से लोगों का ओबेसिटी प्रॉब्लम कम हुआ है, दैट आर साइंटिफिकली प्रूव्ड नाउ. और उसमें दूसरा जो कोलेस्ट्रॉल का सबको डर था, तो कोलेस्ट्रॉल इज नेचर इंग्रेडिएंट, एंड अभी वो तो अपने WHO ने भी निकाल दिया एज ए बैड इंग्रेडिएंट. Probably it was a wrong perception created by the American Heart Association long back. They accepted it now, and similar research was conducted, repeated. So wrong concept was repeated wrongly, and probably I think last for 10 years now it has been removed from the list of bad ingredients. So cholesterol is welcome by your body. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Another, Dr. Raja Rathiman has mentioned that some of the recommendations which are being discussed today were also spoken about during the stakeholder consultation done by FSSI. So definitely, sir, yes, and we take this recommendation further. And as you see, we should seek the help of scientists. So we'll definitely seek that. And the next question, which is, I think, very interesting, that from Mr. Shubham Bansal, he asked that why can't we fix the serving size first and then give warning symbols accordingly? So, Mohan sir, can you answer this question for us? Mohan sir?
Yeah, can you repeat the question once? Why can't?
Mr. Shubham Bansal asked that why can't we fix the serving size first and then give warning symbols of the accordingly to the food products?
Yeah, this was one of the recommendations. I think Mr. Pradip during his presentation has clearly highlighted. So nobody consumes, the entire 100 gram of paneer or 100 gram of oil. So we take only 5 ml, 10 ml. I think this is one of the key aspects, yes, that has been ignored in the current proposal. So definitely, I think this will definitely be part of the recommendation that would go when we kind of give representation to the to the FSSAI in terms of getting defining the right metric for measuring calculating the score of any particular food.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
And then Miss Harshita has asked one question: how to say good and bad foods according to FOPNL to unknown people if there is any rating? Why does FSSAI give the license to unhealthy food products? So I think Kuldeep sir has mentioned a lot about it. So sir, कुछ और add इसमें करना चाहिए? Would like to add something on this?
No, I think the onus is on the manufacturer when it comes to FSSAI. So even today, it is being considered that in India we have got close to, if I'm not wrong, close to 35 million food business operator, maybe 40 of them, maybe close to 4 crores. But when it comes to the registered number of registration and licenses, I don't think so that will be more than 6 million or 7 million currently. So there is a huge gap, and I think the drive should be there from the consumer first to ensure that wherever they are eating anything or they are buying anything, so that place should have some, if not the license, but at least registration should be there, which cost hardly 100 rupees. Even I think any consumer can afford it. And he can say, okay, I am paying 100 rupees and you get your place registered before I come next time. So I think that all the responsibilities we cannot give to the regulator. It's a huge country. We must appreciate that. I think we should also become a responsible consumer before expecting any such kind of things from the regulator. So next time when you reach to such an outlet, please pay him 100 rupees more to get registered. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. And then one last question which I'm taking, which is from our Vice President, Shri Patil ji. So he asked this is to all open to all panelists, that what all need to be done to ask FSSAI to put milk and milk product in special category.
So something we are doing right now also. This is also part of that, but all is to be done. So, but one thing, Sodi sir, I would like to, this is my personal feeling, that at times I have seen in some other areas also, when an industry makes a representation, the memorandum goes with signed letters, say on a standard recommendation from all the stakeholders. So why we should not, at least from our members or the esteemed members who have attended it and the companies which they are representing, if we can have a letter from them, and then when that letter is being put on the table of FSSAI, at that time it should show the true representation in terms of number also, volume also, and kind of, what is the seriousness of the issue, they will be able to understand. I still recall, sir, recently I mentioned it in my blog also, that when that RCP thing came at that time, you were there, and I think 8,000 letter or 16,000.
No, lakhs of letters.
Lakhs and lakhs of 16 lakhs letters were being sent to PMO. So I think that made a difference. RCEP has become a history now. India denying RCP because of you at that time, and with the support of farmers, of course. I think on similar lines, why our dairy industry, whenever such issues come, why we are not together on this, and why we are not making representation like this? Maybe from farmer side also, as I think right in the beginning, Mr. Kalpam was mentioning that it's not a industry. He only mentioned about 80 million households. And he forgot to tell that those 80 million households have got 400 million members also. So out of 1,400 million, 400 million are from the dairy fraternity. You can look at the power. So this is just a suggestion, sir. Please.
नहीं सर, यही कुलदीप जी, I give the example of this frozen dessert वाला भी और analog का. When we put it draft for comments, we got more than 4,000 comments from the persons who favor that frozen dessert should be called as ice cream. Maybe same copy paste is so lobbying, but dairy industry में से 2 presentation भी नहीं आया that this should be separate. So this shows that we are not acting properly. So we have to be active not only.
नहीं, आपने सही बोला कुलदीप जी, डॉक्टर प्रजापति. I think as IDA, we'll start some campaign where we'll approach all the institutions, dairy, चाहे cooperative, चाहे private, as well as all the educational institution. ये निशित बख्शी जी ने comment दिया है, so we should write to all them and ensure that we get their representation, and we send that representation to FSSI. They can send directly also and copy to IDA, so IDA can collect all and then एक अलग से presentation दे दें. तो आप इसके पीछे हरिओम जी जरा लग जाइए. अच्छा suggestion है. It's a good suggestion.
Thank you, sir. And we have many more questions, but due to paucity of time, we'll take them directly to the panelists.
हाँ, खत्म कर दो नहीं तो अगली बार लोग ज्वाइन नहीं करेंगे तो कि बहुत लंबा चलता है.
With this, I would like to thank our President, Dr. Sodi, for his keynote address, and Dr. Prajapati, Mr. Kalpam, Mr. Pradip, and Mohan, all the panelists. And special thanks to our moderator, Kuldeep Sharma, who went through this session. So with this, once again, I thank you all for being this part of this very informative session, and we'll keep on doing such kind of session in the future. So thank you all, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Ji. Thank you very much. All the best.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.